All right. So that shows how long it's been since I've done this and how often I do this. I was having an issue starting my stream up. I actually had it set up wrong. That's the best way I could explain it. But I fixed it, obviously. So I apologize for the late start. I'm gonna give a few minutes for people to get in here, and then I'm gonna really start talking about things. So I'll wait a little bit before I get into it. All right, so I'm gonna get started. So I'll talk about the election a little bit, and I'll touch on some other things while we wait for people to get in here. If you're here, you want to talk, you want to say something, feel free. I'm not as hostile in my live streams as I am in my videos. My videos are more about me just putting out information. My live streams are just basically just me talking to you guys. That's what I do the live streams for. So I usually have positive interactions in my live stream. So if you're not familiar with that, you should check out my other live stream so you can see what I do and how I talk to people. It's usually pretty good. But when I make videos, I'm serious. I don't play games. Just because the things I talk about are not things that I want to play games about, right? It's nothing to be taken lightly. But so let's get started about the election first. Let's talk about that, and then I'll get into some other stuff. The election. Before anybody gets confused, if you haven't watched any of my videos on the election and voting, I'm not political and I'm not gonna vote for anybody, right? And me putting vote now, it's kind of like a little tongue-in-cheek kind of thing, right? And I did that purposely, just to be a smartass. But in reality, I don't really care if you vote, and I don't really care who wins. That's how I really feel about it, because to me, it's all controlled, it's all staged, it's all rigged. And I'm saying this before the election even happens. I've said this ever since the last election. The problem with the last election, at least when you try to talk about it on YouTube, is that they would take your channel down or your videos down if you said anything was wrong with the election. You couldn't even talk about it really, because they don't want people to know the truth. That's how it is. This election, the one thing I'm certain of is that it's not going to be decided on the first day. I'm pretty certain of that. And let's just say, you know, it does get decided on the first day. It's going to be controversial somehow, some way. Because the evil ones that control the world, they're done with doing everything by the book, right? They're tired of letting humans have their little society all cordial and stuff like that. And that pretty much ended uh, at 9/11. Once 9/11 happened, that was the end of humanity having its way and living their lives and trying to run the world and control the world for themselves. And let me say it in a better way, because humans have never controlled this world. Humans have never had control over anything. But 9/11 was like, okay, now we're just gonna do what we want. That's what that was. That was the signal from the evil ones, the demons, the aliens, whatever you want to call them, where they decided, okay, we're just gonna do whatever we want to do with you people. And if you look at the world before 9/11 and after 9/11, it's so different. I mean, if you're old enough to remember, right? And I was young pre 9/11. I was pretty young. And I remember when 9/11 happened, it was like the world just changed. Everything just changed. And the old world died, and then this new trash of a world, garbage world we have now today is what took its place. A lot of times I feel like I shifted dimensions and came from a whole nother alternate reality and just came over here for God knows what reason. I want to say that my purpose here is to help humanity in some way, which is what I'm trying to do. But some days I question that because of my interactions with humans and the way humans take in my information. It really makes me question what am I doing here and why am I doing it. On my old channel, I used to make videos all the time, nonstop. On this channel, I'm not doing that. I'm doing like one video a month. Now that's going to change. If you guys have noticed, I've started to pick up the pace a little bit. I'm making more videos, doing things like that. Oh yeah, one more thing I want to say before I go too far into it. If you type a comment in the YouTube comment section over here, or in the chat, and I don't read it, that means that it didn't show up. I read every comment. So with that being said, Will, I don't want to say your last name because I'm probably going to say it wrong, but you said good evening. Good evening. Nice to meet you. I'm glad you're here. And Will also said, I put this I put this here. I said, hello, I'm having an issue, blah, 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 because I started my stream, but I didn't start my stream. I kind of messed it up. So I was on time, but not really. I made a mistake, but I corrected it, obviously. And then Will also said, it's my first live stream with you. I'm from the Netherlands, but sure appreciate your style. Well, I appreciate you showing up, and I appreciate that you appreciate me. And I appreciate you for being here. So, again, feel free, you guys, whoever's watching right now, say whatever you want. Feel free to cut me off. Feel free to chime in. I'm going to ramble a lot. I'm going to talk a lot. I'm going to say whatever. Don't feel like I'm just going to preach to you. That's what the videos are for. The live streams are specifically for me to interact with my viewers and followers. That's the whole point of these live streams. So I would prefer you guys post your thoughts in the chat and say whatever you want to say. And again, if I don't read your comment, it's not because I'm ignoring you. It's because YouTube has very strict rules with certain speech and certain things you can say. So they'll just block your comment out and not even show it. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do right now so you guys can see what I see. Give me a second. I'm going to fix this real quick. So you guys can see the chat. So if you write a comment and it doesn't show up, just look at the chat and you'll see that YouTube will hide your comment. But give me a second. Alright, I'm just going to show I hope it doesn't do this infinite looping thing that it does. Windows capture. I'm just setting it up real quick. Alright, let's set up. Hopefully it works. Let's see. Alright, cool. Perfect. So now you guys can see what I'm looking at. Alright. That's what I see. I see what this is the chat. So again, you'll see your comments posted there. Oh god, it's gonna do this infinite thing. Don't do the infinite thing. Ah. Alright. Well, you guys can still see your chat there. Anyways, let me continue with what I was saying. So, I don't believe in elections, voting. I don't believe, because the whole point of elections, voting, governments is for you to vote for someone to tell you what to do. And it doesn't matter what government you're a part of, because the United States is supposed to be the freest government, the freest country out there, right? Yet Oh God, I hate the way that looks. Yet that basically, us being the freest government or country, we still have this system that tells the citizens, hey, vote for who you want to rule you. I really don't like the way that looks. All right, just ignore this infinite thing. I don't know how to fix that. Sorry. Just ignore that and just look at the chat. So again, if you see your comment, or if you don't see your comment, this is what I see. Okay, this is what I'm able to see. No, it didn't. Well, first of all, hello, Robbies. Nice for you to show up. I'm doing pretty good, I would say. You said chat froze up. No. What happens is, for some reason, when I use Streamlabs and I try to show YouTube, it'll do this infinite thing like what it's doing now, where it just keeps going back. I don't know why it does that. I haven't figured out how to stop that. But that's what happens when I try to show, like, the page. Let me see if there's a way for me to fix that. I don't think there is. Let me see. Display capture, maybe? It's still going to show that like that. I don't know. I'm gonna try to see if this fixes it. I changed it a little bit. So now you can see, like, a whole bunch of stuff here. I don't know if that's going to fix it. Let me try to fix it again. Hold on. I apologize for that. I haven't been able to figure that out since I've been on YouTube. Every time I do a live stream, it does that. Maybe one day I'll figure it out. But anyways, back to what I was saying. So just try to ignore that infinite thing there and just look at the chat over here on the side. Maybe what I can do is pull out the window for the chat. Nah, whatever. I'll just leave it. It's not a big deal. As long as you guys can see the chat, that's all that matters. So back to what I was saying. Oh yeah, and if you are here, would you mind giving a like to the stream, because it helps to get the stream out to other people so that they can come and watch as well. But anyways, the election, right? I don't believe in any of this stuff. I don't take it serious. I don't think it's real. A lot of people do, though. And actually, most people do. Jen MLV 777, welcome. So yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is, that a lot of people take this stuff serious. I don't. I've made my videos. I talked about how I feel about it, and tomorrow, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stream for a whole week. So starting today, this is the first day. I'm gonna stream basically for a whole week, talking about, because I'm anticipating a bunch of crazy things to happen after, either during the election, after the election, for the next week or so. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I am certain that a lot of crazy things are gonna happen, and that's my main reason for streaming every day for this week, at least for a week, right? Maybe I'll do it longer. I don't know. I'm trying to get into a routine of streaming more and making more videos. But at the same time, I'm not just going to talk about the election. So if you guys have any subjects you want to talk about, anything you want to bring up, feel free to talk. Anything you heard me say in a video and you want to discuss, go ahead and talk about it. As long as you're respectful, I'll be respectful. A lot of people, when I make videos, they say things that are stupid, or they try to disrespect me, or they try to say some slick remark, and I'll have to check them, right? Like, I don't let people just, you don't come here and just say whatever, and then I don't say anything back. It's just not how it works. A lot of people, they see the name of my channel, they're like, oh, it's the real truth. I can bring my real truth to him, and he's going to just listen to me. That's not how this works. You're going to bring whatever you think you know to me, and then I'll decipher it or break it down, and then I'll tell you if it's real or not. And I'm not going to pretend that I know everything or I'm the authority on everything, because I'm not. But I'm going to check what you know against what I know, and then I'm going to tell you what I think, and then you do what you want with that. The last video, or the last two videos, where I talked about that one person on BitChute, and they tried to post all this information that I've heard countless times already from multiple sources. I'm not saying their information was incorrect, but it was definitely misguided, and it wasn't gonna really help anyone or anything. So I was really annoyed with them posting it, and they posted it on multiple videos. So I was like, okay, this is getting annoying, and I didn't respond to them. I didn't say anything to them because I was trying to just let their little comments sit there and let's see if other people respond to this. Let's see what other people have to say. Nobody said anything, and then I responded to someone else, and then they responded to me, and it went from there. I already showed you guys in the video what happened. Robbie said, have you ever heard of CTMU? No. I don't know what that is, but if you want to give me a rundown, and I'm going to repeat this again. I know you guys are very intelligent and you know a lot of information, so YouTube, they don't like the truth. So if you post a comment that has good information in it and it doesn't show up here, you don't see it on the screen, on my screen, that means YouTube shadow banned it or blocked it. So you might have to change your words a little bit and make it fit so that YouTube will allow it. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about that. That's YouTube. And it happens on all my live streams. I always go back and watch my live streams because I want to see the comments that I missed that YouTube. So it'll show up in the replay, but it doesn't show up live. I don't know why that happens. It's just some stupid YouTube thing. But anyways, I'm going to stream for at least an hour every day for the next week. And you guys can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Say whatever you want to say. I have a whole bunch of things. Like, I can talk about a million different things. I can go off in a whole bunch of different directions. But I don't want this to just be me preaching to you guys. So if there's something you guys want to say, like Robbie, he's bringing up something here. And Will, I'm sorry, I missed your comment. Will said they're all actors and puppets everywhere in the world. Exactly. And that's why I always tell people. And I always use the United States as an example. Because the United States is supposedly the freest country. So, of course, if the freest country is not free, then if you're in a lesser free country, or a country that's not as free as the United States, then what I'm saying obviously is going to apply to your country as well. There are a lot of people that have this misconception of the world, and they think, well, I live in this country, so what you're saying doesn't apply to me. I'm like, you're out of your damn mind if that's what you think. You have no idea the world you're in. But there are a lot of people that are delusional, and it is what it is. All right, let's see. Robbie said, you offered them a platform to have their say into heaven and open dialogue. Too bad they didn't take it. That could have been an interesting conversation. Yeah, and that's exactly why I extended my hand to this person, because I could tell they knew a lot of things. I didn't think the person was stupid per se. I just thought that what makes them stupid to me is that they get stuck in that knowledge, in that information, and that's all they want to talk about and regurgitate to people. Because he even said to me in one of the posts, all that dictionary encyclopedia stuff that he wrote, he said, oh, I go and post this stuff on other people's pages, so if you're not familiar with blah blah blah, I don't know what the hell he was talking about, but he was basically telling me that he was putting this on other people's pages. And I'm like, so you're just spreading racism all over the place. Like, you're just getting people to focus on this subject, and it's not very helpful to humans. Humans they have a certain way they think, and they're going to look at it and be like, oh, you're a racist, or yeah, let's be racist with you. Those are the only two outcomes that come out of that knowledge and information that he was spreading. As whether it's right or not, it's not the point. I'm not saying whether he was correct or incorrect, but the way that he kept spewing it, and that's all he wanted to focus on, that's what made it wrong to me. But anyways, so Robbie said, don't know how to describe CTMU. I just recently, as of last night, ran across it and found it interesting theory, and one that is an ongoing one at that. It's here on YouTube, easy to find. Okay. Well, maybe we can look at it right now. I'm just worried about the screen because as you can see, it's like going back to infinity. So I'm like, okay. Because I plan on, watching videos with you guys or pulling things up, but with the screen the way it is, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. Robbie said, from what I have seen, all countries are all together in the same flipping ship that is sinking. Yeah. And that's the issue. Is that humans have been conditioned to have pride in their race, in their language, in their culture, in their religion, their flag, their government, their countries. They've been conditioned to believe in these things. And when you've been brainwashed your whole life and conditioned to believe in these things and no one tells you otherwise, and not only does no one tell you otherwise, but you don't have the capability of breaking free of the mind control that's been put on you, then you're going to start acting on that ignorance. And that's what I was talking about when I said the whole thing about, I made the video about the naivete of humans is the true evil. Because they're so ignorant in what they know or what they believe that they spread that evil to other people. And it's disguised as a good thing. It's just you're supposed to be proud of your country. You're supposed to be proud of your culture and your language and all these other things that separate humans. But look at what that leads to in the world today. Look around the world. We have all these countries divided, all these people divided, all these languages, and everyone's fighting and hating each other and being racist and all this other stuff, right? That's all that's happening with these things that people are proud of. You're proud of things that are separating humans. So I have no respect for that. I don't take that serious. I'm going to take a quick 1-minute break. You guys can keep saying whatever, and I'll be right back. It'll be quick. All right, I apologize for that. So, Robbie said, people are used to others taking care of them, that they no longer know how to take care of themselves. People need to learn to grow up and act like adults. Yeah, and what I try to quote unquote preach on this channel is self accountability, which is pretty much accountability, right? But I emphasize the self because you can be accountable for others, right? But that's the issue, as you're stating, where people always want someone else to be accountable for them. They don't want to be accountable for themselves. They want to, put everything on their country, religion, whatever, to save them and take care of them, and they don't want any responsibility. So when you have a world that's full of people like that, and it's not necessarily the fault of humans, the only problem is that humans don't try to break out of it. That's the issue that I'm noticing with most humans when I try to, speak to them or tell them the truth of what's happening, is that they're content with the way things are. They're satisfied with the craziness and the psychosis. I'm like, how can you be okay with the world as it is? And it's usually a selfish reason, like their personal life is not being affected by some issue that I'm talking about. So they're like, well, my life is good, my life is fine, so why should I care about what you're saying? And that's how humans are. And until it affects them personally, they don't really want to deal with the situation. They don't care about it. They don't want to hear it. And sadly, that's not going to get us anywhere. People need to wake the hell up. Jen said, I agree. I appreciate that. And that's the thing, too. People have to see what's happening and want to do something about it. And the funniest thing about that is that it's not very, very difficult to change the world. As a matter of fact, it doesn't really require much effort at all. Like, it's just a mental thing. It's really a mental thing. Or if you want to call it spiritual, fine. It's pretty much the same thing. But it's all in the mind. It's all in the soul, right? If people can just change the way that they are and the way that they think about the world, then they're going to start to behave in a different way that's going to lead to the benefit of everyone and not just themselves. But right now, most people are not the fault of humans, but they've been put in positions of survival. Like, I have to survive. I have to take care of my family. I have to pay the bills. I have to do this. I have to do that. So when humans are in that state consistently, it makes it hard for them to function and to think outside of the box, basically. And all they can think about is that little bit. Like, okay, I have to do the every day-to-day things. And the evil ones that control the world know that. They know everything about humans. They created humans. So they know how humans are, how humans think. And even if you want to say they didn't create humans, okay, whatever. It doesn't matter who you think created humans. The point is, the entities that control the world right now, the evil ones that I always talk about, they know every single thing about humans inside and out. They know what makes them tick. They know what makes them go. They know everything about our DNA, everything. And I don't want to say I am in a human body right now, but I don't consider myself human. But whatever. Our DNA, our bodies, our souls, they know everything. So when they have that kind of information, it's easy for them to construct a world that keeps humans enslaved without humans feeling or thinking that they are enslaved. But yet humans always complain about their lives, their daily lives. They always complain about, why is this like this? Why isn't this way? Why? It is what it is. I'm trying to show people, I'm like, well, this is why. Because the world is being controlled by these entities. And that's what I was trying to tell that one guy that was talking about the Jews. I was like, yeah, I get what you're saying, but the issue is that you want to focus on humans. And humans aren't really controlling anything. Humans are puppets. They're being controlled in MK Ultra by the evil ones. The evil ones are the ones we need to focus on. And the evil ones hide behind the humans. And that's why they're getting away with what they're getting away with. Because they're not being brought to the light and they're not being highlighted. They're not being talked about. They're being treated as if they don't exist. If you talk about aliens or demons or whatever, people will laugh at you. Even though most of the world believes in religion. But and then they play the semantic game. Oh, well, we don't want to talk about aliens. Let's talk about demons, though. Let's talk about God. And I'm like, okay, do you realize that demons and God and all this stuff is supernatural shit? And aliens is really not it's not much different. It's just a different term. And that's the issue that humans have. They get stuck in semantics and definition of words and stuff like that. And then they can't progress. They can't figure out what's really happening. They can't advance their mind to see what the truth is. But anyways, Will said, you have to let go everything you thought you knew and have been learned. Yeah, and unfortunately, again, the evil ones know how they know how to construct a system, an education system, society, and all of that stuff that keeps humans enslaved mentally, spiritually, physically. They've constructed everything perfectly, and that's why they feel like they can do whatever they want to humans and I'll give you guys an example. The 2020 election, right? What I'll say about that is the wrong person won. That wasn't the person I was supposed to win, but he won. You know why? You know why Biden won? There's only one reason why Biden is the president. Because they wanted to flex on humans and say, doesn't matter who the fuck you vote for or who you want to be the president, we're going to put who we want there. And there's nothing you can do about it. That was the whole point of that. That's why they did it. It wasn't but people, well, how could Joe Biden win and Trump was more popular? I don't understand. I'm like, oh my God. Like, is it that difficult? But because they don't want to expand their minds and go beyond the human level, they can't fathom how did Trump lose and how did Biden win. They can't put it together. Well, and then I've heard people say, well, I guess Joe Biden just got more votes. He just fair and square won the election. And I'm like, you really believe that, huh? You really think that's what happened? Okay. Well, you're obviously gone. There's nothing I can do for you or help you. There's no way to bring you out of that darkness. There's nothing I can say to you that's going to make you understand the truth of what's happening. If you're that far gone. If you really think that man won that election. But when you talk about what's going to happen tomorrow, and this is why I'm doing this live stream, whoever wins, whether it's Trump or Harris, I don't care. It's going to be entertaining either way. And it's going to sound bad, but if humans start killing each other over this nonsense or going crazy, I'm going to laugh. I'm going to be like, you guys are that stupid to really believe in this nonsense. And that's the difficulty that I'm having with interacting with humans, because I want to help them, but I'm having a hard time understanding why they can't see the things I see and why they're so gullible. Why do they fall for this shit every single time? It's difficult for me. I'm like, how can I talk to these people? How can I reach these people? And it gets to a point where I'm making one video a month because of that, where I'm like, how am I going to talk to people, get them to understand what I'm saying? I keep repeating myself and saying the same things over and over because people are not even understanding that. And, you know I have to make more content and make more videos, but people are more focused on TikTok trends and things like that. Ignorant, stupid nonsense. They rather focus on that than what's happening in the world and what's happening to them. So that makes it real difficult for me to, I'm like, how can I reach these people? What am I going to say that's going to get through to them? But regardless, back to the election. This election is going to be crazy because regardless of who wins. So tomorrow I'm planning. I don't know how long I'm going to stream tomorrow. I'm probably going to do 3 or 4 hours. I don't know how long I'm going to stream. I'm not certain yet. But I do want to stream for a long time. And I want to cover as much of the election as I can towards the night. Probably after 7 p.m. sometime. Maybe 8, 9. I don't know what time I'm going to go live. But I want to get to a point where they either have decided who the candidate is or the president is, or there's some kind of crazy thing that happens where they're like, well, we haven't figured it out. We got to go wait one more day or whatever. Once that happens, then I'll be like, okay, I'm done streaming for today. And if Trump wins, then people are going to see how fake he is, because he's not going to do anything that he's saying. It's going to be like the first time where the Democrats were getting in his way. He couldn't do this. He couldn't do that. Like I heard somebody say yesterday, well, we got to win the Senate and the House so that, Trump can do it. But that's the whole thing, right? So it's that simple to stop Trump, where you can just have the Senate and the House go Democrat, and then Trump can't do anything for 2 years. So I'm like, well, it's that easy to stop him. I mean, that's all they got to do. So you can get your president in there, but then they can just do this other thing over here and just stop him. And that's part of what happened before. But it's going to be this game with Trump of, well, look at me, guys. I'm trying to fight for you guys, but the Democrats aren't letting me. Blame the Democrats, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be one of those stupid, nonsensical things, right? That's what's going to happen if he wins. He's not going to do anything. If Kamala wins, she's just going to keep doing the demonic shit that the Democrats like to do. She's going to keep driving the country into a worse and worse state. I dare say that if she wins, we might have World War III. Just because all these countries that are itching to start bigger wars or to go to war with other countries are going to be like, all right, well, she's the president, so we don't have to worry about the United States doing anything. And they're going to go off and do whatever the fuck they want. I'll give you one example. China and Taiwan. I think China is waiting to see what happens in this election. And if Trump's not there and Kamala's there, they're going to be like, oh, we can just do whatever the fuck we want. All right, Taiwan, you belong to us. And that's just one example, right, of the shit that'll go off. But who knows? We'll see. We'll see tomorrow. All right, I'm gonna stop rambling. If you guys want to say anything, go ahead. And again, we don't have to talk about the election. We could talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Jen says, OBS talk from both sides. Yep. And that's the whole thing. It's just a bunch of hot air, right? And people are so brainwashed into believing this stuff is real. It's like a religion at this point, right? Politics is like religion to me. It's like they believe so much in their Lord and Savior Trump or Kamala Harris, whatever, whoever they want to believe in. They worship these people and they think these people are going to save them like they're Jesus or something. And I'm like, these people don't give a damn about you. Once they get in there, they can do whatever the hell they want. They just need to get in there. And again, the vote is not decided by the people. It's decided by the ones that control the world. They put in whoever they want. The vote is an illusion to give humans the false belief that they have some control over something. And what does that do, right? It subdues the humans and it makes them less willing to fight or revolt. So they're like, well, we have control because we can vote. And that's why I can't stand these fucking influencers like Tim Pool or The Quartering or Steven Crowder or Joe Rogan, all these fucking people. They're like, oh, go vote for Trump or I'm going to vote for Trump or blah, blah, blah. Or even the people that support Harris. Because they're misleading people into believing that this shit actually is going to matter. Like the vote's going to matter. And it's going to help those people get what they want. None of this shit matters. You can vote as much as you fucking want. It's not going to make any fucking difference. The evil ones decide who will be the president, and that's it. Jen said, they're all guilty, period. Crimes against humanity. Yeah. And, the reason why there's crimes against humanity is because the ones that are doing the crimes or orchestrating them are not humans. Like, I'll give you an example. When there's a school shooting, people will say, oh, this person just went crazy and did this thing, blah, blah, blah. They had this manifesto written down, blah, blah, blah. But the part that people miss is that all these people seem to be trained and proficient with assault rifles and weapons. Where did they get the training? A lot of these people never were in the military, yet they're so proficient with weapons. How does that happen? They had no previous training, but they pick up a weapon and they're a master of the weapon. How does that happen? If anybody shot a weapon, you need a little bit of training before you become good at it. And some people are, natural shooters or whatever. But these people are not, especially the leftist crazies that have been shooting up schools. I'm like, these people are definitely not into the military or trained military personnel or previous military or anything like that. Yet they have a weapon and they can shoot up everything. They have good aim. Like even the guy that shot at Trump. You know why that happens? Because they're trained by our government. And they're trained. Not only are they trained by the government, but they're also mind controlled. MK Ultra. So that also helps with their aim and their ability to control the weapon, because it's not a human that's doing it. A human is being controlled to do the act or the deed, but they're being controlled by a higher entity, a demon, an alien, whatever you want to call it. And that's how they're able to shoot Trump in the ear and not shoot him in the face. A lot of people think, oh, well, damn, he just missed Trump. No, he didn't miss Trump. He shot Trump where he was supposed to shoot Trump. They didn't want to kill Trump. They needed Trump alive. Why? Because they can use Trump and he's a fucking puppet. They need him. That dude that shot Trump, he shot him in the ear on purpose. He was aiming for the ear. That was the point. And people that don't know about telekinesis or supernatural abilities that these entities have, or aliens, they can literally guide that fucking bullet to hit Trump's ear. And they say, oh, well, Trump turned at the last second. And then even Joe Biden, you guys can look this up if you want. Joe Biden was like, well, how did you know to turn your head at that exact moment? So, oh my God. Joe Biden is so fucking stupid that he kind of spilled the beans on that one. But even Joe Biden was gaffed, and he was like, how was it possible for you to dodge that bullet? Like, how did you turn your head? It's like he was giving away the secret. It's like one of those people where you're like, shut up, don't say anything. And Joe Biden couldn't help himself because he's so senile and old that he just spilled the beans. And I'm like, okay. So he's basically just giving it away at this point. But it's simple. Trump is controlled, and the guy that was shooting at Trump was controlled, and that's it. Nothing else to it. And because people want to, it's funny, man. It's just funny. Like when that shit happened, I said everything. I was like, this is what's happening. And I said that like the first day that it happened. You can go look at the videos I made in the live stream. When it happened, I was on the ball. I was like, bam, 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 bam. And then like a week or two later, people started to figure out what was going on. And they're like, oh, well, it was the government, or the government was behind, or the blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my God, I already fucking said this shit like a week or two ago. Like, you guys are slow as hell to figure this shit out. Robbie said, I'm tuning out tomorrow completely. Promised myself that was the one day I was going to ignore everything and spend time with my grandkids and enjoy them. Well, that's good, Robbie's. That's good. Real good. Jen said, I got to go, but if you're live stream tomorrow, I'll be sure to come on. You guys have a great night. Should be interesting tomorrow. Not sure if there will be an election, an event, or event. Yes, for sure, Jen. You have a good night. And yeah, I'll be live tomorrow for sure. I definitely have to cover what's going on. And then Robbie said, they like to give you false hope. Yep. But yeah, that's the world that we live in. It's it's crazy, the things that can happen and the things that do happen. And it's not so easily explained by simple human events. Like, it's the same thing that happened with like JFK, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, John Lennon. Look at all these people that have been killed in history. Gandhi. All these peaceful, good people that were just murdered by a crazed alone. And let me tell you, this is what's funny. Not funny, but funny. And I'll explain what I mean. The same thing keeps happening where some lone crazed gunmen, they keep using the same script. You know why? Because most humans can't figure out what's going on. So the ones that are controlling the world, the evil ones, they're like, well, we can keep doing the same fucking thing. It doesn't matter. It's not like they're going to figure it out. That's why they're doing it. That's why they keep repeating the same script of using a crazed lone gunman. And I'm like, how many times does this shit have to happen before you guys realize what's going on here? How many times do they have to use the same script, do the same exact thing before you guys say, okay, something else is going on here. This isn't just some crazed lone gunman each and every single freaking time. It is what it is, man. That's the world we live in. And this is why things happen to humans, because humans are so gullible. They really believe it's always a crazed lone gunman. I'm like, okay. That's what you want to believe, but I sure as hell don't believe that shit. But yeah, and I don't think most of you or any of you think that way either. And that's why a lot of times when I make videos, I'm not talking to my viewers or my subs because I know you guys know better. You wouldn't be sub to me or watching me if you were like the rest of these people. So I'd like to give you guys a degree of credit above the average human. And I mean far above, because you guys can understand me, you keep up with me, you talk to me, we have conversations. So I know you guys are not in the same boat as those people. Robbie says, what experiences in your life brought you to the point where you are now? Knowing what you know, and maybe you could explain a couple of those experiences here to all of us. Well, Robbie's, whenever you find time, I would recommend you watch my live streams, my old live streams. I know they're old, but you'd be surprised at things I've said in my live streams. And just watch my videos too. I talk about a lot of things that have happened to me and experiences. But if you want something now, I'll say this. I'll say a couple of things. I've directly talked to the entities responsible for a lot of the things that are happening right now. I actually can talk to them at any time that I want to. So when I have direct access to the entities responsible for the world as it is, then it becomes easy to see what's going on and to think the way I think. And obviously not everyone can do that or has that access, but I do. So, and here's the thing about that. Can I prove this to you? No, I can't. There's no way for me to prove this because it's not provable. A lot of things that happen to people, like abductions or they see ghosts or they have an alien encounter, things like that, there's no way to prove it. A lot of things, I'll give you an example. I don't know if you watch Kim Gogan, but if you do, a lot of things that she says, she can't just prove it. It's either you believe her or you don't. And the people that doubt her, they're like, well, she's not, I want her to prove this thing to me. And I'm like, well, these things are not provable. It's like if something happened to me, like, for instance, I'll give you an example. I got abducted when I was young by aliens, right? How can I prove that to you? It's impossible. I can't prove to you that I was abducted by aliens. There's no way to do it unless I took you back in time with me to that experience when it happened and you were there with me when I was abducted. There's no way for you to either believe me or to know that it happened unless you were there with me. I can't prove it. So a lot of these things, like when I say I believe something or I know something, it's because it aligns with something that I've experienced. So I tend to believe people that have similar or the same experiences that I've had. And I take them more serious than others. So there are people that haven't had any experiences, and then there are people that have had experiences, right? The people that haven't had the experiences usually are doubters. They're like, well, there's no way that could happen, because they never experienced it, so they can't fathom it. But that doesn't mean that it didn't happen. That doesn't mean that it can't happen. It just means that they have no knowledge of it and they have no experience of it. But they're the ones that are always trying to tell the ones that have had experiences, oh, you know what you're talking about, you're crazy, that didn't happen. How can someone that didn't have an experience tell someone that did have an experience that they didn't have it? Do you get what I'm saying? So, yeah, like things like that. I could say a lot of things, right? But long story short, it's not provable unless you yourself have had an experience like that. And I don't know. Let me ask you the same question. Have you had any experiences with supernatural entities or anything like that? Or are you just somebody that just knows? Because there are some good people that just know that there are things beyond them. But a lot of people are figuring it out more so now than ever. Thank goodness. Yeah. And let me tell you a secret. I don't know if this is a secret to you, but from my understanding, every human on this planet has been abducted at least once. But not every human has memory or recollection of the event. Why were they abducted? Because the ones that control the world, the evil ones, the aliens, whatever you want to call them, they study every human, and that's how they gather all the data to know how to control and run the world. They study every human's thoughts, DNA, body, everything. Everything that makes you tick, everything that makes you go. They know your past, your present, your future. They know your future lives, your past lives. They know everything about you. They have the technology to scan your soul. So when they have that capability, they can easily, like, people are like, well, if there's aliens, why haven't I seen them? Why haven't they shown themselves? Blah, blah. If these aliens have this capability that's far beyond human comprehension, or at least the average human, you think they're going to show themselves to you when their whole point is to control you? If they're trying to control the human race, why would they want to expose themselves to you? And they have the technology to do all these crazy things. So is it that far reaching to say that if they wanted to hide from humans, they could? I mean, it's like, I don't know how to explain this, but I guess insects, right? Insects, they can't fully perceive our lives or understand our lives or even know that we exist. But we do. And if we do something to the insect, they're sure as hell going to know if we exist if we step on them, right? But that's about it. It's similar with aliens or demons compared to us. Unless you're an exceptional human with psychic capabilities or just a different kind of person. If you're beyond the average human, unless you're one of those people, you're not going to have any experiences. You're never going to see them. You're never going to know them. And it doesn't help when people shut themselves off from the truth and they don't want to believe in it. Humans have an innate capability to create reality and to create their own reality. So if you don't want to believe in something so much, guess what? You can block it out completely. If you don't want to believe in aliens or demons or anything else, and you just don't want it to exist and it's not real to you, it won't be. That's how humans can do that. They have a lot of, humans do have some capabilities. It's just they don't know how to use them. Will said, I think it's possible to know you have those experiences. You can create yourselves. I had this with small things. Last, I wanted it to rain and nothing showed that it would. 30 minutes later, rain. Yeah. And that's your intuition, right? That's your psychic capabilities, which every human has this capability. Every human has psychic powers, but you have to be able to develop it and work on it and believe that you have it. The main thing that humans need to do is believe, right? Because everything is a belief. If you don't believe in something, it won't exist. If you believe in something, it will exist. Humans can do that. So if you believe, if you want rain and you believe you can make it rain, you'll make it rain. If your power is there, if your desire and will is there, it will happen. Or maybe it was just going to happen anyways and you just predicted it, or you just use your psychic abilities to sense the future. But regardless, you were able to use some kind of beyond normal ability to have that rain happen, right? Whether it was just to know it was going to happen or just to make it happen, one way or the other, you had a beyond normal human capability to interact with the rain in that manner. It's the best way I can put it. There's no real human way to say this, right? Because it's very complicated, but you get what I'm saying, I think. I hope. But yeah, Robbie's, have you had any supernatural things happen or anything crazy? Or any of you, anybody in the chat that wants to say anything? I'm going to end in like 10 minutes, but if anybody in the chat has had any supernatural experiences or anything they want to talk about, or even any knowledge or information you want to share, feel free to do it now. And please hit the like button before you leave. That really will help to try to get the stream out to more people. But if you've had any experiences, feel free to share them or any knowledge you want to talk about. I'm going to take a quick break and then I'll finish up. All right, so we got about 5 or 10 more minutes. If you guys want to say anything, I'll be finishing up in a few. So yeah, like I said, just to reiterate, I will be streaming this whole entire week. So from Monday to Monday, basically, this Monday to next Monday, the 11th will I'll do my last stream, but and I say last like in quotations because it's not going to be my last stream, but I mean in terms of this little marathon that I'm trying to do. And yeah, I'm going to be covering the election and all the craziness and nonsense that happens from it. But we don't have to stick to the election. We can talk about other things. You guys can say whatever you want. If you want to reach me, feel free to leave a comment in one of my videos, and then I'll respond most of the time. If I don't respond, I'll at least read your comment. But also, if you want to talk to me, I'm trying to get my Twitter running up. I have a Twitter, but I'm having issues with it, so I might have to make a new Twitter. And if I do that, then that'll be a way you guys can direct message me if you want to use Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. Seems to be pretty free speech right now. So, but yeah, all in all, I have a feeling that some craziness is going to take place tomorrow. I don't know what. I have no clue. But I'm going to be here for the fireworks. I'm going to be here to cover it. I think I'm going to go live probably at 8 or later, just because I want to be as close to the end of the election as I can be, right? Like, I want to start streaming when the election is pretty much over so I can talk about the aftermath, right? I might stream early if something happens, but if nothing happens and it's just counting the votes and all of that nonsense, then I'll just stream a little later and go for a few hours. It's going to be the longest stream too, tomorrow's stream. It's going to be a few hours. It's not going to be 1 hour like this one. It's going to be a few hours. And then the streams after that will be an hour or two. It's not going to be every day 3 hours, 4 hours. So it's going to be about an hour. I'm going to try to stream every day at the same time, but some days I may have some things going on, so I might have to stream earlier or later. I'm not sure yet. I'll figure that out. But other than that, if you guys have anything else to say, feel free to say it now, or I will end the stream. I'm trying to think of anything else that I may have forgotten. Oh yeah, my Patreon. If you guys want to support me on my Patreon, that would be great. Simply because I can use that platform to say a lot more things that I can't say on YouTube and other platforms. Patreon seems to be the place that people go to really let loose and say things. It's not just say things, but information that I can share. It's just a lot of things I can do on Patreon that I can't do on YouTube. And I make my videos and everything centered around YouTube, but YouTube has a lot of rules, so it's very difficult. But whatever, it is what it is. Will said, thanks for tonight. I will try to be there as much as possible. It's 6 hours later here, but I'm sure crazy things are coming without a doubt. And I appreciate you showing up, Will. Appreciate you, Robbie, Jen, everyone that showed up, whether you spoke or didn't speak. I appreciate you. Make sure you leave a like and let people know this is the place to come and talk about the real truth. If they want to talk about the real truth, this is it right here. This is where we discuss that. Anyways, I hope you guys have a good night, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care.